Michael.
You've seen and we've discussed a file from Slater and Gordon. It's an account ledger, or in fact it's a series of account ledgers. But on the top left-hand corner, you can see the rust from where a paperclip has been, where it's been held in safe custody at Slater and Gordon for a number of years. It was seized by Victoria Police as part of their Operation Tendament, and I don't know, there's half a dozen sus files, all put together by Slater and Gordon, and you came into possession of that when you were charged by Western Australian Police, and you were served with a heap of the exhibits that Victoria Police had seized under search warrant from Slater and Gordon, correct?
That's right.
Would you agree with me that a number of these files, Slater and Gordon account ledgers, have one characteristic in common, that they're sus, they're suspect? Yeah. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
And your conveyance file is one of them?
That's correct.
So let's just run through them. The first of them is the AW Fatality Fund. Now, the Fatality Fund was headquartered on the Goldfields in Kalgoorlie, correct?
Yes.
Who or what is at 54 Victoria Street in Carlton, Victoria?
Victoria Trades Call, and Bruce Wilson was using that as his base when he relocated to Victoria.
And when did he do that?
1992 from memory.
July? Well, I know it to be true, and we can confirm it with minutes. It was in July of 92.
That's right.
The Fatality Fund ever headquartered at Trades Hall Council, Victoria?
No.
There's something else sus about this, Ralph, and that is that the first payment made into that general ledger account doesn't happen until November 92. It looks to me like this thing may have been reconstructed, and a heap of stuff has been billed to it. Would you agree?
Well, what law firm bills 9 months after the event?
That's a very good question.
And $7,000 plus dollars?
Well, in fact, about 10 grand in total.
Right.
Got billed to the Fatality Fund, yeah. For the creation of one boilerplate trust deed. You've said before, and this general ledger confirms, that a heap of expenses, a number of trips to Perth, a number of disbursements, and a heap of a solicitor's time, 50-something hours, has been billed to the orphans and widows. It was paid when Wilson was in Melbourne. The address given is at 54 Victoria Street, the Trades Hall Council, and the dates coincide with critical times in the incorporation of the other the slush fund, the Workplace Reform Association.
But there's no connectivity between Trades Hall Council and the Widows and Orphans in Boulder. How the hell do you bill Widows and Orphans using a Victorian Carlton Trades Hall address in February, 92?
Except the first bill isn't paid until October, November. It's a long time for a law firm to wait. Now, let's go to the next one in this series of sus accounts. When I say sus, see that barcode there? Slater and Gordon put that barcode. These are all Slater and Gordon files put into the one file by Slater and Gordon. They've all got one thing in common, and that is that they're sus. Here's a ripper, Ralph. This one's a beauty. The client here, so there you got JEG, Julia Gillard. The client is Ralph Blewitt from 54 Victoria Street, Carlton. Hang on a sec, we've got to capture that. You're laughing.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. This is the demarcation dispute. I was never based at Trades Hall Council in Victoria. I operate in WA.
Yeah.
I have no recollection whatsoever of ever having a demarcation dispute acted on my behalf out of Victoria against the CFMEU by Slater and Gordon or Julia Gillard. Okay,
can you say unequivocally, did you ever issue instructions to Slater and Gordon to act for you in a demarcation dispute with the CFMEU?
No.
Did you ever operate at a Trades Hall Council in Victoria?
No.
Were you aware, prior to seeing this, of a professional bill from Slater and Gordon? This one's a beauty, mate. How much would you expect to pay for a demarcation dispute with the CFMEU? let's say around $600. Were you aware of...
Demarcation disputes cost thousands of dollars, not $600.
Righto. Now,
so why?
The date of that is interesting. It's the 31st of March, 1993. What else was happening in March 1993?
Can't recall at this stage.
All right, well, good. I've got some help for you.
Yeah.
I agree. I believe you can't recall. But this file will help. At the time that Slater and Gordon billed $600 for an alleged demarcation dispute, here's what else is happening. Mr. Ralph Blewitt is the ostensible client for the purchase of 185 Kerr Street in Fitzroy. And the fees for the purchase of Kerr Street, Fitzroy, the conveyance, etc., were, quote, written off against Union.
So one can assume then that the $600 demarcation dispute is a way of Slater and Gordon, or Julia Gillard in particular, recovering her costs.
Well, you can assume what you like. The facts are, you are in a position, Ralph, you're central in this. The mortgage, the conveyance file, was yours. Did you pay them 1 cent for that?
No.
A bill was written out, but it was written off by Gillard, quote, against fees against Union. You can also give expert evidence about this CFMEU demarcation dispute. Let's cut to the chase. Is it or isn't it bullshit?
It is bullshit, because I was never based in Trades Hall Council Victoria. I never had a dispute with the CFMEU in Victoria. So what the hell's going on?
Well, I think you're right when you said we can assume what's going on. Let's continue through this amazing, yeah, I know the time, mate, I know it's getting on, amazing file. We'll go right to the end of it. There are other bits in it that, like this, the Australian Workers' Union rule changes to August 91, billed in 93 for how much money? $500.
Oh, 500, yeah.
$500. Work done in August 91, billing, July 93, amount, another, let's just make this an even $500. You had two files, your conveyance and the mortgage. They were both fees written off against the Union. You're getting a sense of where that Slater and Gordon might have fixed that up?
They haven't written them off at all.
They were billed to the workers,
Yeah.
to the members of the union, you slugs. Oh, dear God.
Money.
That's...
2 years after the event.
Well, let's just look at this. The Australian Workers' Union proposed rule changes, 1991, address 54 Victoria Street, the Trades Hall in Victoria. Now, Ralph...
Well, hang on, who was at 54 and 91?
No bastard, but who was there in July and who was there in 93 operating a post box at the Trades Hall Council that is not subject to other prying eyes? Who was that?
Bruce Wilson.
Thank you very much. We'll continue through this amazing document and we'll go right to the end. There are other interesting files in it, but right at the end, Ralph, this is the Slater and Gordon account management system. It's ledger system. There are 3 files here with your name against them. 3. They're to do with 185 Kerr Street. When you asked Slater and Gordon for your files, the conveyance and mortgage files, how many files did you get?
I got 2.
But this proves to us that Slater and Gordon in fact had 3.
They withheld one, yeah. I asked them at some stage for the trust account ledger information.
Trust account receipt.
Receipt, sorry, yeah. Because they entered it in there, we now know, as the money coming from myself for the purchase of Kerr Street.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, the cheque and the money came out of Workplace Reform Association. So, you know, you look at all of these documents, you look at all of these account ledgers that we now have possession of, or I have possession of, and there's a continuing cover-up. There's something to hide. Slater and Gordon are hiding it. They never ever gave me that trust account receipt. I requested it, but they wouldn't give it to me. And now I know they're the third file, which is probably where it was contained. So they've pilfered those files.
Mate, I'll tell you what, Ralph, they are going to rue the day they thought that they could pull a Swifty on you.
Bottom line is they've acted in criminal behaviour on behalf of Wilson, Gillard and...
Gilson, that sounds a very contemporary way to...
And Slater and Gordon.
Good on you, mate.
It's a deliberate act by them.
Stands out like the proverbials.
To conceal the evidence that they would be engaged in criminal conduct.